Good Monday evening, my brothers and sisters of Beach Church in Virginia Beach, and to anybody else that might stumble across this video, because on the internet you just never know. Hello to you guys too. All right, I have the distinction and honor of talking to you about something of which I know very little. And don't turn it off. I got a plan. But we're talking about Revelation 7 and 8. So my first approach to this was, okay, I know nothing about Revelation. I don't understand Revelation. I'm not going to pretend to know something about something of which I know not. But there are people that do. There's the Michael Heisers and the Charles Mishners of the world. A lot of them have passed on. But they had a lot to say about Revelation 7 and 8. One of the things that Charles Mishner said was, if you want to understand Revelation, understand the Old Testament, because the writers of the Old Testament, the people that lived during that time, they were all, if they were to read Revelation, they would say, oh, I know exactly what this is talking about. But I'm not living in those times, and I'm not an expert on Hebrew. Michael Heiser once said, yeah, I can do whatever I want. I have a PhD in Hebrew. But I don't. So let's I started with that. I'm gonna just go over what some of the things that these experts said, and then I'm like, yeah, well, that's great. To know about the 144,000 and who they're going to be and who they're not going to be and so forth. That's all good. What does that have to do with us living now in this world, in our contemporary lives, with the challenges that we're dealing with on a daily basis? And we have very challenging times right now. How does this help us? How does this help us? It's all wonderful and great as Christians to know that the world isn't falling apart. It's coming together according to what it says in the Bible. And I guess that gives us some degree of comfort that other people are not able to avail themselves of. But is there really something that we can grasp here that will help us live our current lives? So, okay, let's look at a few things. Revelation 7 to 9 talks, Revelation 7 verse 9 talks about the great multitude consisting of people from every nation, tribe, and tongue. So let's grasp that concept. What is that? That's inclusion. So how is that relevant in our lives today? We're living in an era of increasing social and political polarization. Duh. We know this. We live this. This vision provides a blueprint for the modern church. It challenges believers not to get involved in the polarities and the divisiveness and the conflicts, but to reject racism and nationalism, not in favor of globalism or any agenda, but just embracing everybody from everywhere, and knowing that that person in front of you who might be a Muslim right now, maybe they can still be saved. So maybe you have to give them a chance. Be open and embracive. I think we all fall short on that, and I think we can all do better. So the true Israel, according to this, is defined by faith rather than ethnicity. It calls for a global perspective on mission and community, prioritizing shared faith over cultural differences. I mean, as it is right now, if you're Jewish and you're in Israel, then you're not Jewish if you believe in Jesus, according to certain statutes and ways that they go about doing things. Anyway, so there's that. Please seek that out in your hearts, and I will do the same. I have 3 or 4 Muslim young gentlemen that live right down 2 apartments down from me in these townhouse apartments. And that doesn't make me comfortable, especially since they're from Mozambique and they don't speak English. But one time I had my cat sitting in the window, and he saw my cat sitting in the window, and he looked over at me and he smiled and laughed, and we had a moment. It's possible. We can do that. Doesn't matter who it is. All right, moving on. Purposeful silence in a noisy world. Oh my goodness. Van Morrison has a song on his Enlightenment album, which falls short. The album, if it's trying to enlighten us, it falls short. But oh my goodness, what a beautiful song. This must be what paradise is like. It's so quiet in here. It's so quiet in here. That's what that song says. So Revelation 8, verse 1, talks about the half hour of silence in heaven. There was a movie, I don't know, maybe it was put out by Angel Studios, I think it was, about what heaven would be like, and it was like there'd be 1,000 songs all playing at the same time, and it wouldn't be chaos, it would be beautiful. It's a concept. But yeah, we live in very noisy times. There was a Twilight Zone episode, come to think of it, where there was a guy, hangings didn't go well in the Twilight Zone. One time, the whole town turned black at noon. And another time, the guy fell, but instead of hanging, he landed on asphalt. And, he was in the 1700s, 1800s, late 1700s, early 1800s. Landed on asphalt and was surrounded by 1950s America, and he couldn't stand the noise. That's 1950s America. Imagine if he had landed now. But that half hour of silence in heaven represents a solemn pause before significant divine action. And how is it relevant to our lives today? We have a very high decibel culture. This holy hush highlights the value of reverential silence. Do you ever know, those moments during worship on Sunday morning when everything just settles down and there's no music because you just can't move forward for a moment. You have to be in that moment, in that space, in that reverent hush. It's a beautiful thing. It invites individuals to integrate moments of stillness into their spiritual lives. That's another thing. When you sit down to pray, do you immediately say, Father God, or however you say it? Or do you just take a breath and get into that space? It's a form of worship by itself, to just be reverent and to know who it is that you're about to talk to or with. And it's preparation for whatever God might have next. Then there's this aspect of prayer as a catalyst for change. Revelation 8, verses 3 through 5 depict the prayer of the saints, rising with incense. Remember what I told you about the Old Testament that Chuck Missner had said. There's that song about day and night, night and day, let incense rise. Well, that's talking about the Old Testament, but it's also talking about Revelation, and there's that connection. Rising with incense and directly preceding the release of divine power on earth. Yeah, there's a lot of release of divine power, blessings and wrath in Revelation. So how does that affect us in contemporary lives? It elevates the status of prayer from kind of a ritualistic activity to an active spiritual intervention. For modern believers, that's you and me, feeling powerless against systemic issues. Look, everything's just screwed up. The whole system is a mess. There are ways out of these. There are actual solutions for some of these problems, but ultimately, not really. It affirms that their prayers, our prayers, are heard and are a vital part of God's governing process in the world. Do not think, my uncle, I don't talk to him much. But when my mom was in the hospital a little over a year ago, we spoke a few times on the phone. And he tried to convince me, because he used to be a doctor, and he still knows his stuff. He still reads the American Medical Association Journal, I guess it's called. Light reading. He still reads that when it comes out. And he keeps abreast of things. But, oh my goodness. Oh, sorry. I had a moment of silence there. That was not my reverent moment of silence. That was me forgetting what I was going to say, and you getting concerned. No, but he was trying to tell me that there was a study and then showed that prayer didn't actually do anything, and my aunt kind of made him hush a little bit. And he said, yeah, probably didn't have proper controls or something like that on that test, that study. But yeah, prayer is powerful. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And it is a vital part of how God governs the world. Now, when you pray, the thing that you're praying about comes from God to you, to your heart, and then back up to God. Okay. And lastly, what I have for you today is to talk about the 144,000 who are described as virgins. Do I have to say anything else about our current culture? And anyway, virgins who follow the Lamb wherever he goes, signifying moral purity and spiritual fidelity. Contemporary relevance. In a culture where ethical lines are often blurred or demolished, trampled upon, this serves as a call to spiritual virginity, remaining undefiled by the idols of modern society. And it lists here consumerism, power, or compromised values. That's not a bad way of breaking down the different types of idols. Yeah. Consumerism, power, or compromised values. And it encourages a life of consistent following, regardless of where the Lamb leads in one's career, relationship, or public witness. I just wrote a song and I recorded it. And it's called No Matter What. And part of the chorus goes, where Jesus follows, that's where I'll go. I follow Jesus, that's all I know. What else do you need to know? What else do you need to know about me? Something about my past? That's not me anymore. Besides, it's all been forgiven. And yours too, by the only one who can. And that's what I got for you. And it's more than I thought I was going to be able to provide. So I'm happy. I hope you're happy. I hope you got something out of that. Revelation 7 and 8. Connecting theological insights with daily life in 2025. And I hope that helps you get through your day. And I'll see you soon. Peace, love, and joy in Jesus.